What is up everyone, and welcome back to the third part of this tutorial series on making a mixed reality game with Quest 3. Now, in the previous episode we learned how to set up the color path-through and add collision between the virtual and real world using the scene model. And in this video we are going to fix one of XR's biggest issues, the depths. I'm going to share with you two techniques to let the real world appear in front of the virtual one, and of course a big shout out to my Patreon for supporting my work. And if like them you want to get access to the source code of this project, but also an entire exclusive tutorial where we will make a mixed reality game using what we learned so far, join us, link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here we are where we were left at the end of last episode. Now, to showcase to you the problem with the depths that we currently have with hand tracking is that if we go under the OVR camera rig, let's go down below, and under the left hand ensure and the right hand ensure, let's select both of the two OVR and prefab, which are here to just showcase the hand tracking, and remove them. There you go, beautiful. Now I'm simply going to build the game to see what it looks like inside the VR headset. Okay, so here it is, the app is now built and we can see the beautiful cube in front of us, but as you can see, now I don't have any mesh showing on my hand, I just have hand tracking working, and if I put my hands behind the cube, everything seems normal, of course, because all of the virtual mesh are rendered on top of the path-through. So this means that if I put not my hand behind the cube, but in front, look at what happens. There you go, it does not work. There is a huge depth problem within this application, right? So let me show you how we can fix this. Okay, so for the first solution, we are going to use the path-through selective shader. So down below, under the left hand and the right hand onshore, we can enable back the two-hand prefab model. So this means that we will now have a 3D model that will follow the hand tracking. There you go. But the thing that we are going to change is here the material. So as you can see, by default, we are using a basic hand material, which is just black, but instead we are going to use a material that will render what path-through sees. This way, when the hand will be in front of the cube, it will still render path-through in front of the cube through our hands. So let me show you. Let's simply go inside our project, create a new material. There you go. We can call this one hand path-through. Beautiful. And now here on the shader on this hand path-through material, let me select it to mixed reality selective path-through. Beautiful. Here you go. As you can see, there is a bunch of settings on these materials. The first one we are going to check is here the render queue. So I'm going to set it from 2000 to 4000. This will make sure that the path-through shows in front of the object. There is also here the inflation. Now, as the name suggests, this will inflate the mesh. So let me set it to something like 0.003. Beautiful. And here we have the Z test, which is set to less or equals. So by setting it to less or equal, this will mean that path-through will be hidden if your hand is behind the cube. But if you want to always show path-through on your hand, you can set it to always. Now, in my case, I will just leave it like this. Okay, and finally, for the blend color, let's set it from reverse to subtract. Now let's select both our OVR hand prefab and drag the hand path-through material that we just made directly here on the skin mesh renderer materials instead of the basic hand materials. There you go. And now let's finally build our game to find out how this looks like. Okay, so here you go. As you can see, I'm inside the same application, but now instead of a black mesh displaying the hand tracking, I have a path-through mesh displayed. So we can of course not see it right there, but if I place my hand in front of the cube, look at what's happening. Hand tracking is working, and as you can see, everything works great. And now the hand depth is working as expected. The hand is hidden behind the cube, and in front, we can still see the hands. So at this moment, we can use any virtual object and place a path-through shader on it to make the depth work. But this also means that we could add this hand path-through material on the scene mesh that is created within the scene model. So if we go on the OVR scene manager, if you remember, under prefab override, we override the global mesh to add here the global mesh collider. But let's instead override this mesh with global mesh collider that also has the end path-through material on it. So let me click on it. And then in my case, I'm going to select the last one. So the global mesh renderer collider. I'm going to duplicate it and rename it collider depth. Beautiful. Now I'm going to select back the end path-through that we made earlier and duplicate it. And I'm going to call this one scene model path-through in case that we change some setting compared to the end path-through. Now let's go back to the global mesh renderer collider depth prefab that we added. And let's double click on it to open it. There you go. Now I'm simply going to change here the mesh renderer materials with the new material that we made. So let's drag here the scene model path-through. Beautiful. And now we can go back, select the OVR scene manager, and instead of here the global mesh collider, we can drag our global mesh renderer collider depths. Beautiful. And now this means that the scene model will be rendered with a collider, but as well with the path-through materials that we created, which will make it possible for our virtual object to make it seem like they are behind our real-world object. So let me show you by building. Okay, and here you go. As you can see, I'm still inside the application, but now the scene model mesh is rendered using the path-through material. So this means that now if we use the spawning of the sphere from last time, as you can see, everything seems normal. But if I make one of the spheres spawn behind a wall, because the wall is detected within the scene model, the depth is working as well. This is awesome. And it really looks like the sphere are spawning in the real world. There is no more depth glitch. Now anyway, this was the first method to kind of fix the depth issue from mixed reality, but of course it is not the most precise one, and it only works with tracked element like the wall, the scene model, or the hand tracking. But what if I told you that there was actually a better solution? That's right. Now with Quest 3, Meta has released the Depth API. So this is a new feature that uses directly the depth sensor from the Oculus Quest 3. This means that we don't need any tracking or to use any scene model mesh anymore, because we can directly use the depth sensor in real time to know if something is behind or in front of our virtual object. So for the second part of this tutorial, let me show you how to set up the Depth API. Okay, so here you go. You will be able to find the Unity Depth API from Meta over there on this GitHub page that you will find in the description below. Now, if you go down below, you can see that there are two here Depth API packages. One is for the standard pipeline and the other is for the universal rendering pipeline. So in my case, I'm simply going to copy this one. We can then go back to Unity, then to Windows, Package Manager, click on the plus button and add package from Git URL. Now let's paste the URL that we have from GitHub and let's click on add. Okay, here you go. Now the package is inside our Unity editor, so we can remove the package manager. Now, little note here, so the Depth API is still in experimental mode. So this means that we have to enable Quest 3 experimental features. So that's something that you can do normally within the Unity editor. The first time that you build, you will see this pop-up window showing, asking you to put your Quest 3 into experimental. Another thing it is that it's not working within the Oculus Link at the moment. So you will have to build to test the Depth API. And finally, last issue, which is kind of annoying right now, is that there is a problem with the dependency from the Depth API and the Oculus integration big packages that we added in the first episode. Now that is something that is already known by Meta and that they will fix later on. But to make sure that we can build to Android to test our game right now, we need to delete one of the two OVR plugin DLL that are in our project right now. So if you go to Oculus, VR, plugins, the version you have, Android, you have to click on this OVR plugin and press on delete. Okay, and once you've deleted the OVR plugin for Android, you can go back and do the same for Windows. But as you can see, if I try to delete it, I have this error showing right there. So actually, an easy fix is to simply rename this plugin OVR plugin Windows, for example. And now let's build to see if this works. And now finally we can build, which was not the case before because we had two of the same OVR plugin with the same name. Okay, and next, to make sure that all of the settings are working right now, we need to click here on this little Oculus button on the bottom right corner. and then on project setup tools, this will opens up the project setup tool that we've already seen in the first episode. And now let's make sure that the Depths API scene feature and experimental feature are enabled. Beautiful. Okay, so now that the setup for the Depths API is done, and as I told you earlier, for the Oculus Link and here the bug with the duplicate of plugins, I hope that everything will be solved very quickly so you will not have to redo these things later on. Now, anyway, let's set up the Depths API with our scene. For this, let's right-click, create an empty game object that we can call path through depths. Beautiful. We can reset the transform, and for this component, I'm going to add an environment depth occlusion. As you can see, by default, it adds as well an environment depth texture provider. And here we can set the different occlusion type that we want for our game. So hard occlusion will simply do an occlusion without any smoothing, and soft occlusion will add a soft occlusion as the name suggests, and you can see the difference here. Now anyway, once it is selected, everything is basically done at this point. The only thing remaining is to change the material that are being used by our virtual object. So for example, for the cube, let's simply right-click, create a new material that I'm going to call white depths. Beautiful. And on here, the shader, we can go under Meta, Depths, BIRP, and then select the occlusion standard. Beautiful. Now we can drag these materials instead of the default material we had earlier. Magnificent. And the last thing is to change here the red material that is used by our red sphere. And we can simply, in this case, go to Shader and reselect the Meta, Depths, BIRP, occlusion standard. And by default, as you can see, it is keeping the different parameters. And at this point, that's it. The Depths API is set up for working with our project, and by using the Meta Occlusion shader, it will make sure to be applied on these objects. So to just finish this project, now let me just select the two OVR hand prefab and remove it because we don't need it anymore as it will be automatically done with the Depths API. And let's simply build our game to test what we've made. And there you go guys, now as you can see, depth is not a problem anymore in our game using the Depths API. So for example, we can put our hand in front or behind the cube. And this not only works for the hand, but this works as well for the whole arm or any object around me that you can put in front and will be seen by the depth sensor on the Quest 3 to know if it's behind or in front of the cube. Now this works also for moving virtual objects within our real world, as you can see by the bouncing sphere. And this concludes here our tutorials. Now thank you for watching and make sure to subscribe down below for the next one. You can, as always, find the source code on my Patreon, where I will post an exclusive tutorial using everything that we learned so far. So, if you want to support my work and get access to exclusive content, join us, the link is in the description below. Now, thank you for watching and see you very soon. Bye bye.